What's up, Professor Workleys here. We are moving on to lecture number 18. Now, we're getting into the server-side scripting languages like PHP, so we're going to mainly be working on the server. I'm expecting that you've already started an instance. You have your LAMP stack installed. You can upload a file to that server, and you're able to view that file from the browser. Now, in order to make sure we're all on the same page, I'm just going to go through this quickly, and hopefully you have already done this yourself so you have a basic understanding. So I'm going to the AWS console, and here you're going to see a bunch of services, and up at the top you're also going to notice a location here. If I click on the location, you're going to want to select the location closest to you. That way there's less latency and your server will be quicker. So Ohio and North Virginia are both pretty close. I'm going to be in North Virginia. You want to make sure this location is the same every time you start up the server. Because if I start at EC2 in North Virginia and then I log back in, I'm in Ohio, you're not going to see that instance and you're going to freak out. You're going to say, what happened to my instance? Well, actually, it's just in the North Virginia region. So make sure you're in the same region every time you start up your AWS console. You're going to click on services, you'll see compute power, and the first one we're going to look at is EC2, and we're mainly going to be using the EC2 services throughout the semester. Now you're going to want to know what AWS is, you're going to want to know what EC2 is. Now I'm going to go over here, you'll see I have one instance running, I have key pairs, security groups. I'm going to go here and click launch instance. I'm hoping you've done this already. And they have two different types. They have Amazon Linux 2 and just Amazon Linux. Now, I'm going to stick with the first version here, and this is where a lot of students mess up. They select the second version. They can't do what I'm doing. They run into problems. Make sure you use the Linux 1 version. So I'm going to select that over here, and we're going to be in our free tier, especially if you signed up for the first time. You get up to 750 hours of micro instances per month. Now you can leave one instance running the entire month. Towards the end of the month, you may get a message saying, hey, you've reached 90% or 95% of your free tier eligibility. Well, don't worry. With one instance running, you can leave it running the entire month for 12 months. And then in addition, you have your Amazon AWS Educate credit, which is around $100. That will be used after that. So you don't have to worry about getting charged. We're going to select the T2 Micro, click on Next. These you're going to leave as default. You're not going to worry about these. I'm going to click on Next. On the storage page, make sure the delete on termination is checked, and you can actually increase the size. A lot of students had problems. They reached the maximum size of 8 GB. You'll see free tier customers can get up to 30 gigabytes of SSD storage. So if you want to increase this a little bit, you can. However, once the free tier runs out, you're going to be charged for this. So I wouldn't increase it that much, but maybe we go up to 15 gigabytes. A lot of times students are fine with 8. I've actually had 8 gigabytes for my business website for the last 2 years. So if you use the server wisely, you're not going to fill it up. 8 gigabytes is actually a lot of space, especially since we're just putting code on the server. But if you want to increase that a little bit, you can. I'm going to stick to 8. That way I don't get charged extra later. I'm going to go to next. We're going to add a tag here. We're going to put a name, and the name is going to be 2830. And I'm going to click on next. Now, security groups, this is an important page, as I mentioned in the previous video. SSH is the default port that's open. You're also going to want the HTTP port, which is port 80. That way you can reach it from a browser. In addition, you're going to want HTTPS, which is 443. These are common ports, and you should know them for an exam. If I say, what's port 22? You want to know that's SSH. What's port 80? You want to know that's HTTP. What's port 443? You want to know that's HTTPS. After this, you can do a review and launch. I know I'm going quick, but I'm hoping you watch the previous videos which explain this more. I'm going to create a new key pair, and let's just call this our 2830-key pair. Now, this key pair is important. If you lose it, it's very hard to get back onto the server. So make sure you download the key pair, and then I recommend that you upload the key pair to a cloud service like Google Drive or OneDrive. Put it on a flash drive, put it somewhere on the cloud, email it to yourself. That way you have this key pair and you don't lose it. So I'm going to download the key pair. And you'll see if I'm in Safari, it's actually going to put a .txt on the end of the file. Now, you don't want that. It's actually just a .pym file. So make sure the extension is .pym. If you're using Chrome, you're not going to have any problems. But if you do, make sure it's .pym. In my 2830 directory, I'm going to save the key pair right there. And then I recommend uploading it to a cloud service like Google Drive. Just so you make sure you do it, I'm going to do it in the video as well. So take a second and go ahead and upload that to your Google Drive. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to Google Drive. I'm going to do a file upload. I'm going to upload this PIM file. Okay, it just takes a few seconds. Every time I start a server, I always download the PIM and upload it to the cloud. That's just a routine I have. That way I don't lose this key pair. If my computer crashes or I drop my computer, water gets on my computer, anything happens to my computer, it's up on the cloud. I know I can get back into my EC2. A lot of students, for the final project, they're almost done implementing the code. They lose their key pair. They can't get back on the server. And that cannot be used as an excuse for not finishing your challenges and your final project, because I've told you several times, upload that key pair to a cloud service just in case anything bad happens to your computer. Now I'm coming back to the console. Once I've downloaded that key pair and uploaded it to the cloud, this is your last chance to download the key pair. So make sure you store it wisely, and I'm going to go ahead and launch the instance. Once this, you'll see a page. They have a lot of resources to help you get started. I'm going to view my instance. You'll see it's pending. If I refresh the page, now you'll see it's running. For some reason, the server is running, but the page doesn't upload for a set amount of time. And instead of waiting, I like to refresh the page. So I'm going to click on connect. I'm hoping you've connected to your server already. You'll see one thing I need to do is change mod to the key pair, and then I need to run this SSH command. So I need to be on the terminal. If you're on Windows, you can use PowerShell. You can also use Git Bash, and I have videos for that as well. I'm going to CD to my documents, 2830. Now I'm going to run the change mod command, and I'm going to copy this SSH command and run that in the terminal. For the first time, it's going to say, hey, you're connecting to a server. I haven't seen this server before. Are you sure you want to connect? Click on yes. Once you see this EC2 symbol, you know you're on your server. Once you're on your server, you need to install a LAMP stack, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. I have instructions to do that, and we're going to do that in the next video. Stick with Professor Wergeles.